Emoji Movie cake and I saw so many cute versions of poop and meh going around that I thought I'd make the third addition to the team, Hi-5, and I think he deserves a high five. No one around to give me a high five. To start, I printed out a picture of Hi-5 in the size that I wanted the cake to be. I made mine almost the size of a letter-sized paper. I then cut him out without the legs and also cut out his eyes and mouth so that I can cut those holes into the cake also. I then wanted to cover the board in purple fondant to look more like the movie poster. I first covered the board in a thin layer of shortening so that the fondant would have something to stick to. I then rolled out some purple fondant and put it on the board. You can always stretch out the fondant and thin it out by rolling it directly onto the board. Once it's covered, trim off the edges using a sharp knife or an X-Acto knife and then let it dry completely for at least 24 hours. I then used some black luster dust to dust around the edges to make it look a little bit more like the poster. I made a red velvet cake for this emoji, thinking that the insides of his hand would be red like blood. But now that I think about it, he's an emoji, so maybe he should have been yellow. Either way, I used a stencil to cut out the shape of Hi-5 with a sharp knife. Get all the little edges of the fingers as well. So I'm gonna be honest with you and tell you that I made a lot of mistakes on this cake. But I figured it was a good opportunity to show you those mistakes so that you don't make the same ones. It just goes to show that no matter how long you've been making cakes, you can always still make mistakes. Lesson learned, don't skip steps. Mistake number 1. I totally forgot to put a cake board underneath Hi-5, which is especially important when you're planning on moving him to a different board. That means that now when I actually tried to move the cake, you're touching the actual cake instead of the board, and it's much harder to move. It got stuck to my little silver mover thing, and then my handprints are all in it, and I started denting the cake, and my hands are squishing his face. Not a good plan. It all worked out in the end, but it was a mission. Always use a cake board, especially if you're planning on moving the cake to a different board. Lesson learned. Before crumb coating this cake, I carved with the shape of the hand and curved out the sides a bit to be a bit more smooth. I then carved out the shape of the fingers and then used a stencil to help cut out where the eyes and mouth should be placed and carved out. What I like even more than emojis are Bitmojis. They are awesome and I use them for everything. I then crumb coated the cake, making sure to get all the indents, eyes, and mouth. I put it in the fridge for about half an hour and then iced the cake again and put it back into the fridge. I love emojis. I mean, who doesn't? I love meh and poop, which is probably why they're the main characters, because everybody loves them. But my favorites are the shifty eyes one, because I make that face a lot in real life. I love the heart, I love the little hug. I love the monkey that covers his mouth. I use that one a lot when I see adorable babies. I love the kissy face one, and the multiple hearts, and the hands up, and I love a lot of the emojis, let's be real. I can't even think of emojis. There's a lot of emojis that I don't use, but I love that I can now go through the list and have an entire conversation using emojis no matter how annoying it can be. Gotta love them. I cut out a small piece of black fondant for the mouth and then put it directly onto the icing into the hole where the mouth would go. You can trim it a little bit like I did here. I then used some of the skin color fondant to create the shape of the thumb and the palm, which actually looks like his eyebrows. I put these underneath the final layer of the fondant so it would just show up on the final product as one straight piece, but it would accentuate the features. I rolled out a layer of fondant and covered the whole cake, using your finger and fondant tools to gently carve out all the pieces that need to be indented, including the thumb, fingers, eyebrows, eyes, and mouth. Remember, you need to work a little bit quickly here before your fondant dries out to accentuate all of the features on his face. Once you're done, trim off the edges of the entire hand and smooth out the sides. With an X-Acto knife, I then cut out the mouth, revealing the black mouth underneath, and then smoothed out the edges with my finger. Mistake number 2. I tried to give Hi-5 some shadow on his face so it looked like a hand, just like he does in the movie, but I got a little carried away. I only had brown luster dust. If I had peach or orange or yellow, I maybe could have added a little bit more shadow, but because I only had brown, I just kept putting it on and it just kept getting worse and worse. It started to look like Hi-5 had a little bit of a bruise on his face. Lesson learned, don't get carried away with shadowing your cakes. But it just looks like now with the bandage and the bruise on his face, the Hi-5 got one too many Hi-5s. I then filled his eye holes with some white fondant and used blue to make circles for the eyes, and used some black food gel color to make the edges of his eyes and black fondant to make the iris. I made little rectangle catch lights because emojis for some reason have rectangle catch lights. To make the bandage on his finger, I assume because he got Hi-5s one too many times, I rolled together some light blue, blue, and white fondant, rolled them together, and then rolled it out with my rolling pin and cut out a rectangular shape to place on the cake with some water. I haven't actually seen the movie, so... I used some black gel color to make the little dots to make it look more like a band-aid. And now for the final step, I placed the whole cake, very difficultly I might add, onto the purple board and made 2 small legs out of the same colored fondant and then cut it off at the edges. And that's it, there you have it, Hi-5 is complete. Hey, if you like this video and you like this cake, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Actually give it a Hi-5 in the comments below. And if you haven't yet subscribed to this channel, click my floating face over here for that. And if you haven't yet seen my other videos based on movies, click right here for my movie playlist. Thanks so much for watching. Hi-5! Should just